Hello from Pavilion Central. I'm Superintendent Kate Hoffman, and I'm here today joined by Donald Childs, our business official here at PCS. We have finished preparations for our annual budget hearing, which will be on Monday, May 11th at 7 p.m. in the high school auditorium. The budget hearing is always held about a week before the school budget vote, which is on Tuesday, May 19th this year. So we're preparing the budget hearing video in video form for those people who may have an interest in learning more about our school's budget, but who may not be able to attend the meeting in person next week. So we hope you find this informative and helpful, and if you really enjoy it, you can come on the 11th to see us do it again in person. Today we will be reviewing the proposed budget. We will talk about our budget development process and provide you with information on how we were able to balance our budget this year. We will also have a short discussion about the anticipated New York State budget and its impact on PCS before delving into a deeper examination of our revenues, expenditures, and the three-part budget. All of the information presented here can also be found in the budget newsletter, which should be in your mailboxes very soon. If at any time you have questions or comments about the budget, please email us at the address shown on the slides, comments@pavilioncsd.org. Mr. Childs or I will respond to your questions. This year's budget process was not easy. We were forced to make hard decisions that directly impact our students and staff. My job is to make sure PCS stays financially viable for the future and to ensure that we're making decisions that allow us to continue offering excellent educational opportunities to our students while also continuing to run our school with a budget that our community can support. Our enrollment has declined. As you'll see, as we move through the presentation, PCS faces a situation like many of our neighbors, where declining enrollment and changes in state aid are forcing us to make cuts that directly impact our students. Before we get into the specifics of the budget, let's talk a little bit about how we got here this year. Across New York State, school enrollment has dropped over the years. 20 years ago, we served 930 students. Currently, we serve less than 600 students. Our general operating aid has been stagnant for 2 years now, and we've been taking steps to reduce our expenditures to keep our school financially healthy. We've been able to leverage retirements and unfilled positions to decrease our personnel costs. We know that Pavilion taxpayers cannot carry the burden of inflation on their own, and we are doing our part to continue reducing positions to carefully align our staff with our smaller enrollment. As has been the practice here at Pavilion in years past, we continue to be conservative with our spending. We carefully review any open position to see if we're able to maintain our programming without filling it. We utilize funding sources that provide us the most aid on our spending, and we maintain our facilities on a regular schedule so we do not fall into the trap of paying more for repairs in the long run. We continue to tighten our belt while still providing excellent opportunities for our students. This year, however, these sound practices were not enough to balance our budget. Let's talk facts. The proposed budget for the 2026-2027 school year is $20,213,434, a year-to-year increase of $786,689, or a 4.05% increase. I think it's very important for people to understand that the year-to-year increase in our budget was heavily influenced by a 30% increase in the district's health insurance costs. Our health insurance bill went up $617,000 before making any cuts. We also saw steep increases in our special education costs and in our utilities. We are a district that relies heavily on state aid to fund our school. This year, the governor proposed a 1% increase in our foundation aid, which translates to $83,000 for us. As we do not have a finalized state budget at this time, we are again working without a confirmed foundation aid numbers in this budget. Our tax levy increase is 3.19%. We are going out at our tax cap this year, something we haven't done in several years. A 3.19% tax levy increase will bring in $196,036. This budget also includes the funds for a $100,000 capital outlay exception project and the cost of the annual bus garage lease, which we will talk more about later in the presentation. And finally, you'll see 5 propositions on the ballot when you come to vote this year. The first 2 propositions are asking you to vote on the school budget and to elect 2 members to our Board of Education. The third proposition is to create a general capital reserve fund. As we are in the middle of a capital project, the reserve funds we have are being used. We need to open a new reserve, which is the savings account for future expenditures. We are not raising taxes to fund this reserve, but we do need to be responsible and have an avenue to save for future improvements. None of the funds can be used in a capital reserve without voter approval. The fourth and fifth propositions involve the Howell Memorial Public Library. School districts are required by law to assist local libraries on their ballots. This can be a little confusing because the school is a separate entity from the public library. However, this arrangement really does help the public library piggyback on our process, which saves them money and saves our community members from having to attend two separate votes. So you'll notice that propositions 4 and 5 are for the Howell Memorial Public Library. You'll be asked to vote on the library tax levy and the library trustees. Well, as I mentioned earlier, this was a tough budget year. You can see here that we are making some significant reductions in our staffing this year. We've been slowly reducing our staff through retirements and unfilled positions for years. This year, however, our financial circumstances have fast-forwarded this right sizing of staff. You can see that we've made cuts to staff in several areas: classroom teachers, special areas, administration, and clerical. We're all being asked to do more with fewer hands in the work. For years, we've been enjoying private school class sizes in our public school, but this is a luxury we cannot afford anymore. When I was an elementary teacher here at PCS, our class sizes range from 20 to 24 students. Those are not large sizes for elementary classes, but as our current classes average 12 to 17 students, going back to more than 20 kids in a class seems large. It's not. We have room to make some changes in this area while still keeping our commitment to the individualized attention that our students enjoy now. 20 years ago, our enrollment was over 900 students. Today, we're just shy of 600. We have to adjust our staff to stay fiscally viable. At the elementary school, we will have 2 sections of classes at all grade levels, with the exception of first grade and UPK. And we had already moved to 2 sections at our 5th and 6th grade levels. These were really difficult decisions to make. We have amazing teachers and staff here at PCS, and it's really hard to lose good people. When preparing this budget, we looked at everything, and I mean everything we could, to see where we could find savings. Unfortunately, we're a school that has very little fluff, and as such, we looked at areas where we could consolidate staff and resources and not impact student programming that much. These are the programming reductions in this budget. We are eliminating a bus run for next year. We're confident we can reconfigure runs and still keep the runs under 45 minutes for our students. We've ended our contract with the Center for Youth, a service that provided additional social emotional support in the elementary school. The TIES program has been eliminated. TIES stands for Together, Including Every Student. We are consolidating our driver's ed program to just 1 semester or summer course. And we're also eliminating our instructional technology support position. So one of the questions I've gotten in regards to this budget year is how come we're doing a big construction project while having to make cuts? And that's a fair question. We're currently in the middle of a significant capital improvement project as well as an energy performance contract project. We're improving our instructional spaces to support changes in programming and curriculum and making needed repairs and upgrades to our roofs, HVAC systems, and plumbing. The EPC involves upgrades to make our school more energy efficient. The money for our capital project came from a capital reserve fund that could only be used for capital improvements in which our community voted to approve the use of these funds for just this reason. The EPC is a project that will pay for itself over the next several years in energy efficiencies, something we desperately need as our utility bills are skyrocketing this year. So even as we are right-sizing our staff, we still need to keep our facilities in good shape. And we have to be responsible in planning for the next roof that needs replacing and the next set of stairs that crumbles, which is why we're asking the voters to approve a new capital reserve or savings account for the future. Even if we didn't do any projects, we would still be making adjustments to right-size our staff. I hope this helps answer people's concerns about the capital project. Now on to the proposed budget. You can see we have a 4.05% increase in costs, which translates to an increase of $786,689. A large portion of that increase, as I mentioned earlier, was a 30% increase in our health insurance costs, along with increases in special education and utilities. Now I'm going to turn things over to Mr. Childs as we delve deeper into our revenues, expenditures, and the three-part budget.
Okay, first we'll start with the revenues, and as you can see in this pie chart, there's two large sections, which is where most all of our aid comes from. 58.57% of our revenue is state aid, and the second largest portion, 31.39% of our revenue comes from property taxes. In addition to that, there's some miscellaneous federal aid and local resources, and we also have some use of reserves planned for this budget as well. And if you consider that approximately 31% of our revenue comes from taxes from local resources, that includes the STAR credit rebates that the state is giving to individual taxpayers. And if you factor that out, the local taxpayers are paying approximately 23 to 24% of the cost of running the school. The next chart shows the revenues without the chart, just listed as a comparison to the prior year, and you can just see the percentages that each amount represents and the changes that represents in the budget. The state requires us to show the budget in the three-part format, and so you can see that in this chart. There's program, capital, and administrative. And in the next chart, we'll look at each of those components. So the program component, that's really what we think of when we talk about the education at the school here, the program. It includes all the regular education, special education, all the related services that go with special education, support services for the regular education, whether it's the library and those types of services. And overall, that represents just over 75% of the total budget. The next section is the capital component, and the capital component is just over 11%, and that includes the operations and maintenance of our buildings and facilities, as well as the purchase of buses. The actual cost of the bus runs is in the program, but the purchase of new buses is in this capital component. It also includes our $100,000 capital outlay projects. Each year we're allowed to do one. We try to do one every year because it allows us to address ongoing maintenance needs, and that money is reimbursed by New York State. It's closer to 85%. And then the third component is the administrative component. This represents just over 13%, and this is the cost of the Board of Education, the central office, school administration, as well as the finance department and the central services departments.
All right, so before we wrap things up, what else is included in the budget? As Mr. Childs just referred to, this budget does include the capital outlay exception project, referred to as our $100,000 projects, as the scope of the work may not exceed that. The project included in this budget will include door and classroom flooring replacements at the middle high school. This project will be substantially reimbursed by the district by the state through building aid, which is currently set, as Mr. Childs said, at 85%. This building aid is the reason why we keep these capital outlay projects in our budget. This allows us to take care of smaller repairs for pennies on the dollar, and our capital project does not cover every item that needed repair in our facilities. So the budget also includes the cost of the annual bus garage lease in the amount of $39,508. This is the second year of a 5-year renewable lease agreement. The district will receive building aid reimbursement on this expense also from New York State at that projected 85% rate. When you come to the auditorium foyer to vote on the annual school budget on May 20th from noon to 8 p.m., you will find these 5 propositions on the ballot this year. The first proposition is the annual budget. Voters will be asked to vote on the school district budget of $20,213,434 with a tax levy increase of 3.19%. Proposition number 2 is the election of our school board members. voters will elect 2 candidates to the Board of Education. Jeff Finch and Rick Smith, both incumbents, as well as Sarah Sweeney and Katie Dorsheimer are running for the board. You will be asked to choose 2 candidates. Proposition 3, which is too long to read on this slide, is for the General Capital Reserve Fund. We are asking voters to approve this savings account for us to start having an avenue to plan for future renovation projects and emergency needs. Proposition 4 is for the Howardell Memorial Public Library Tax Levy. And Proposition 5 is the election of the Howardell Memorial Public Library trustees. You will be asked to vote for 2 candidates. Joan Gray and Kelly Harris, both incumbents, are running unopposed. So finally, we encourage you to come out and vote. Our vote is Tuesday, May 19th from noon to 8 p.m. right in the Pavilion Middle High School auditorium foyer. Eligible voters must have an ID. They must be 18 years of age or older, a U.S. citizen and a legal resident of the district for at least 30 days prior to the election. So thank you for your attention, and we hope you found this video informative. We look forward to seeing you at the budget vote on May 19th.